Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's session. My name is Olufolake Ayeyemi, or Flo for short.
Thank you.
A little about me. Like I said, my name is Olufolake Ayeyemi. I'm a married mom of two girls who are 13 and 9, and I live in the city of Portsmouth. I've been living here for about 12 years now, and it's really, really home for me and my family. I am the director and lead creative at My Fruitful Fingers, which is my company. And my company started in 2014. So at My Fruitful Fingers, we design and sew bespoke ladies wear and made to measure ladies wear for all ladies, baby, girls, and adults, but not for men. So only women. We also create unique handmade gifts and personal items with fabric. We run one-to-one sewing and creative sessions. And very recently, we started doing this virtually. We all know how this year has been, and there hasn't been a lot of face-to-face contact with anyone. But thankfully, we have platforms like Zoom that help business people to still be able to do some business, which has been really, really exciting. It's been an adventure, but it's been good. So next slide. So before I go into why I started, I'll just give a bit of a background to my sewing journey. So I started sewing when I was about 11 or 12, I think. I think I need to double check with my mom about that. And I started from watching my mom sew curtains, pillowcases, and general things around the house. And I just really took to it. I would sit with her constantly, helping her to thread the needle and do the bobbing, and it just all started from there. And then she would let me try my hands on, the actual sewing and sewing the stitches. And I remember how I felt the first time I actually ran the sewing machine, and it was the very old one that had the winding, there was no pedal. And it was quite interesting, and I just really took to it from that age. And I remember during school holidays, very much unlike this time that we're in, where there's the internet, there's YouTube for the kids and games and all that. We didn't have all that. So that used to be my own toy at the time. And I would cut up my old clothes and make all sorts of things. It was quite interesting. And it's quite interesting for me also to see where this has kind of taken me. It's been a long journey. So I thought I'd give a bit of background before I go into what the actual business is. So I mean, obviously the sewing had to take a back seat for a while, especially because of my education. Had to finish my secondary education, go to university and all of that, get married and started having children. So there was that gap that I didn't really do much of sewing, or I can't remember doing anything sewing related until I had my second daughter. And that was when the skill came back to me for so many reasons, which some of them I'm going to be highlighting now. So the first reason why I started was to be more present at home. So this was a time where one of my daughters, we were trying to get her support and a diagnosis for special needs. And it was it just felt right for me to put her first and kind of stop work at the time. And thankfully I had these skills, and I had been taking lessons. So I started taking lessons about 2012. So I had brushed up the skill over a period of 2 years. And then I thought I could make some money from doing this sewing and just leave because I was working very long hours at the time, and it wasn't just practical to carry on living that way, also having a child with special needs. And I mean, we all know how it is at the beginning of the special needs journey. It was a lot of confusion, a lot of uncertainty. So it just made sense for us as a family. My husband and I, we decided that it was best for me to be more at home and present with the girls, especially the one with special needs. So that was my major reason for putting in my notice at work to then start this full time. And also I started because I wanted to be able to create my own stuff. So I've been, like I said earlier, I've always had this flair for sewing. So as I grew older and as this particular stage of my life, I really had some ideas that I wanted to bring to life, and I didn't know how to. That was what actually took me to the sewing lessons, because I did try on my own. I know that I couldn't, but then I went to a lovely lady called Leslie, and she did help me. She gave me a lot of confidence, and she made me feel like I was really good at it. So that really gave me the confidence to start out. And also the third thing is to find fulfillment. So yes, I was working before, but when you get to a point where you think there has to be more to me than this, like this can't be everything that I'm about. So I wanted to do something that was really, really me. So that again was one of the reasons why I went into sewing, and also to meet a need. So at that time, I know there are lots more, or maybe I wasn't just aware, but I didn't know anybody else who was doing what I do, especially around here. I know that people would sometimes have to go all the way to London to have their dresses made and things like that at the time. So yeah, so that's one of the other reasons why I started. So over the years, in running a business, especially as a self-employed, and as the only person, as it were, that runs the business, I've had to rely on a lot of digital tools, just so to make my life a little bit easier and to make it, less stressful to run the business at this point where I'm still the main person that runs the business. Definitely looking to the future where there'll be more people running it with me, but for now it's just me. So my favorite tool, and I put that at the top, is Canva, which is it comes as an app or as a program. You can use it on the internet as well, where you create social media content. So all the lovely graphic designs that you see on Instagram and Facebook, I think quite like a number of them were created with Canva. You can get it as an app, as I said, but you can also use it on the computer. And there are lots and lots of templates that you can, change it up a little bit, or you can do yours from scratch. So I find this really, really helpful for my business. I need to mention at this time that these apps that I'm talking about, there are lots and lots of different other options of apps that do similar things, but I'm only saying these ones because I have personally worked with them and I find them really, really easy to use, especially that I learned to use all of them or most of them on my own. But if you're looking to find an app that will do a similar job, I'm sure if you look on the internet, you'll see the different varieties of apps, and you can choose the one that works best for you. Okay, so the next one is InShot. InShot is a video editing app. It's quite useful if you create videos. I don't know if it's the best one for YouTube. I don't do a lot of YouTube at the moment, but it's quite helpful for me to edit my videos. I do a lot of short videos, and I add on a lot of elements to it, like text, stickers. And if you can't find any stickers in their own library, you can download pictures and use it on their platform. It's quite easy and straightforward to use, and yeah, I like using that one. Then MailChimp. So this MailChimp is good for email marketing, and I find it really, because it helps me organize my emails, newsletters, and information that I send to my clients. It helps create like different groups of clients, so you decide what message goes to who. I find that really, really useful. Again, different options, other apps that do these things. So you can have a look as well on the internet. Etsy is a big one for me because I sell my handmade stuff on Etsy. It's an online platform where you can get handmade or vintage goods to buy. So that's quite good for my kind of business because my items that I sell are handmade by myself. So that's been really, really good. And it helps do all the discounts if you want to do a discount, if you want to do anything that you want to do, like you don't need to do anything manual. There are lots of templates that you can use on there to customize your orders and the way it goes out to your clients. So Google Apps, the reason I put Google Apps, I know Google is very familiar to a lot of us, but many times we overlook or maybe we're not aware of the apps that are available in Google. So there are lots of apps that can do things like surveys, like editing forms, Word, Excel kind of things on Google. Many times, I mean, it took me a while. Maybe that's why I'm mentioning it. It took me a while to realize how much you can do on the Google apps. There's a long list of them on Google. You can also look that up. Zoom, which is this one we're using, has been very useful for me, especially this year, because as I said earlier, I started running the classes online and I've been doing it on Zoom, and it has been a lifeline because yeah, no physical contact. So this is the only way I can carry on teaching my students how to sew and do all sorts of things on Zoom, and it's been really good and it's worked way better than I thought actually. So yeah. Trello is a new one to me, but I thought I'll mention it because it's good for organizing and helping you plan ahead. So it's like it's kind of like a whiteboard with a lot of sticky notes on it. So you have all your things that you want to do all over it, and you have time scales and everything that you can incorporate into it. It's really, really nice, and you can kind of plan ahead over a period of time. Maybe you want to plan weekly or monthly, however it works best for you. Yeah, so that's Trello. Appointifix, I find this, especially at this time, I found it really useful. It's an app that helps me schedule my appointments with my clients. So once I put the appointments in, it sends the reminders to me, sends it to them. It just makes everything easy for me to, unlike before where I mean, Google Calendar is good, but I find that this one is a lot more organized for me personally, and it helps me, be on top of my appointments, and it also helps me not double book because I've had a few times where I had overlapping appointments. So this is quite good. Again, there are lots of other options. Kajabi, this one is so new. In fact, I think last week was the first time that I had a look, not heard of it. I've been hearing about it. So it's a platform that kind of incorporates all the apps, so you can do your email marketing, you can do your online courses. Everything is kind of incorporated, so like a big umbrella where you can organize all the things that help you run your business. So I'm really, really looking into this as a tool going forward with my business. I mean, if this sounds like something that might interest you, you can have a look. And again, there are other options. It's not the only one that there is. I'll move on now to the next slide. Okay, so in my business, well, since running my business, I've achieved, like I've stated here, growing a family and a business under the same roof. Yeah, I run my business from home, so as you can imagine, especially when the kids were a lot younger, I was more like, take it just them getting in between my legs as I try to press on the pedal of the machine and things like that. But it's been interesting, it's been fun, and I mean, I'm looking back now and I'm thinking, yeah, I think I think somehow I've managed to do both without one negatively affecting the other, if you like. Yeah. So the other thing is being able to teach what I know how to do, that for me is a really, really big achievement, because I didn't think I will be able to pass on the knowledge. So the first time somebody asked if I could teach them how to sew, I refused, and I said no, because I thought I won't be able to do it. But here I am 3 years later, because I started teaching about 3 years ago, or 3 or 4 years ago, and with, well, a number of students who definitely understand what I've been teaching them. So that's been a big achievement for me. I've had 4 fashion shows so far, in collaboration with some charities in the city of Portsmouth. So that's been really good. We're quite blessed with these opportunities in the city of Portsmouth. And I love making people look nice. I love making them look beautiful. I love it when ladies come with their ideas and I'm able to bring it to life and they're happy with it. That gives me a lot of satisfaction. Yeah. So, okay. So challenges. Um, Fear and uncertainty is definitely a big one, because especially when I started out, I started having the gifts, having the skill, but not knowing what to expect. So there's a lot of, oh, is this right? Is this wrong? Am I supposed to be doing this? Should I just go back to my job? I had all those kind of periods at the beginning of my journey of business. So yeah, finances was also it was also a big challenge at the beginning. I did have my tools because I was already doing the classes, so I had already bought some of my tools. I had a sewing machine, an overlocker, and some of my other tools. But I didn't have money to do. When you have like some big ideas that you need money to run it, I didn't have the money, and I didn't know how to go about getting the money. So that was that was a little bit of a challenge. But yeah, I mean, not as if I have a lot of money now, but I think now I have a little bit better understanding of, the financial aspect of business. Again, I didn't have business knowledge, like I already mentioned that earlier. And clarity as well. I didn't really know what direction the business was going. I only knew that I wanted to make clothes for ladies, but that was it. No clear, vision of what was going to happen. I was confused about pricing. I didn't know how to set my prices, what formula or however, to go about that. Time management was a big issue. I found that I was spending so much time doing the work and so little was coming of it. So I didn't know how to plan my time very well, to do the work. And it was a little bit of a struggle, that, planning the work and then planning to do things with the family as well. I found that many times I was doing the work constantly, and my family, sometimes they would bear the brunt of that. Marketing was another big challenge that I had. Um, and thankfully, when things like Instagram and Facebook came along, I mean, Facebook has been here much longer, but yeah, those have been tools that have helped marketing. But at the beginning, it was quite difficult to tell people, or to, put word out for myself, for the work that I do. And also loneliness. I mean, anyone that runs a business would know that it can be really, really lonely. Sometimes you want to talk to somebody, but you don't know who to talk to or who will understand what you're trying to say. So many times you just stomach everything, and yeah, you just maybe find a way somehow. But loneliness definitely has been a big one. So the lessons I've learned over the few years of my business is that I'm not everyone's cup of tea. I think that one set me free from a lot, because there was a time where I just wanted to please everyone. Like it felt like I was being pulled here and there. And again, like I said earlier, there was no clarity. So I was just going with, whatever anyone wanted. But when I realized that, first of all, I need to know that not everyone will understand what I'm doing or who gets me, it helped me to take a step back and think about, okay, so what is it that I actually want to do? And then from there, I then started to grow, in the business, um, and know, or have a clearer picture of what I was trying to achieve without too much external influence. It's nice to, listen to people and get advice and things like that, but it's also really good to have a clear plan and clear vision of what we want to achieve. I also learned to take a break, like I was saying earlier. I used to spend hours and hours, and it started telling on almost every area of my life. So I learned that I have to create time off the actual sewing or creating anything, and relax my head and calm myself down. I also learned to celebrate my successes. At the beginning, it was a challenge to see, because whenever I made something, I would only see the flaws or what was not perfect. I didn't look at the good bits. So I learned to celebrate when things work right. And when things don't work exactly to plan, I learned also to see them as learning points for myself. Yeah, so this leads to the next one, which says perfection is the enemy of progress. Like, I was always looking for, oh, this is not perfect, and it really, really stunted my growth in a way, until I started seeing more of the success. And I'm just going to take a sip of water. Okay, all right. So yeah, next one is learning to see failure. I think this also ties into what I said earlier about seeing, not seeing failure as as overriding the good things, but seeing failure as failure or mistakes as a stepping stone. And also that my business is not about just about money. Obviously, I want to make a lot of money, but more importantly, I would like to make a big impact on people's life, and that for me is very, very primary. And also, it's good to have big dreams, but it's also good to start small. So sometimes we look at the big picture and we forget the little steps that will take us to the big picture. And that was my story. But now I'm learning that the small steps are also as important as the big picture. Okay, so I'll run through this very quickly because I'm conscious of time. So my advice to anyone, especially if you're just starting out, starting a business, is to have a vision. Again, I've mentioned this previously. It's nice to have a plan, and it's not so much about the writing of a business plan. It's just knowing what you're trying to achieve, and that helps you keep track of what you're doing. It helps you like measure your progress in a way and know where maybe you're falling behind. And this can change from time to time. So as you grow and as your business evolves, your vision might change, your plan of action might change. But it's always nice to have something most likely documented, but even if it's in your mind that this is what I'm trying to achieve, so that when you're falling off or going off track, you would know how to bring yourself back on track. Be willing to try new things. That's always a good thing. Know how to motivate yourself. As a business person, it's sometimes really difficult. Downtimes, a lot of times. So you must have like your own made up strategy of getting yourself out of that rot, if you like, of not, sometimes when you don't just feel like doing anything or creating anything. Supporting other people's businesses, for me, this is really, it helps, especially when I'm feeling down, when I can't do anything on my own business. I find a way of supporting somebody else, and that way, that kind of gingers me and brings me back to life with my own business. Asking for help is really good. There's nothing as good as going to somebody that can help you and asking them to help, and be teachable, because it's one thing to ask and it's another thing to actually listen. So once you find the right person, because not everybody can help you, but once you find the right person, be willing to learn, and be teachable. Start where you are. It's not always perfect at the beginning. You might even not know half of what you're meant to be doing, but take the first step. And as you take the first step, the other steps will be revealed. Trust the process. This is a phrase that we hear all the time, but it is quite true. There's a process. Rome was not built in a day, as they say. So let's just trust the process and just continue to follow the steps as they unfold. on the business journey. This last one is very, very key for me, using my words wisely. Like many times, we say things that negate, and I believe that words are so powerful. We say things that negate what we're trying to achieve, and there's so much power in the words that we speak. So um, let's try and say things that are in line with what we're trying to do, not the opposite. And that's it from me. Thank you very much.
Thank you everyone for being here. I am Megan. I run the Beehive in Portsmouth. So let's have a start about how we got to where we are. So the Beehive is run mostly by me, but my father is involved as well. He lives up in Staffordshire. And I became self-employed at 19, doing illustrations, trying to find my path in life. He was also self-employed, and we really struggled to find sales outlets. We were really living on the breadline. It was tough doing markets, especially in winter. There's snow and it's -5 and you make one sale. And as much as, you really want to do that and you want to keep going and keep pushing, and you want to keep going to all the shops and saying your business pitch to everyone, sometimes it's really hard. And on top of that, we both also have chronic pain from a car accident, and we weren't able to do normal office jobs because we couldn't sit, and we were very creative, so we'd be jumping all about and desperate to make. So after moving down to Portsmouth, how, oh, 4 years ago to the area and 2 years ago to Southsea, um, I really got involved with the arty community down here, which was very similar to my hometown. And the people that we spoke to, it was just everyone was in the same boat as us, really, really working hard, but not always seeing the rewards that they deserved. So one night I sat down and I business planned my pipe dream, which was to have a shop that sold local makers and creators and all people similar to us. And it was simple and easy for them, and it was comfortable, and they didn't have to worry. It was very much a pipe dream. I didn't think it would happen anytime soon, and I found myself in the June of 2019 unemployed, and I panicked. So I found my friend was letting out her shop space as a pop-up. So I went there and I thought, let's implement some of the business plan. I will sell my floristry and my artwork, and let's bring in some other people who are looking for outlets. So I went around markets scouting people as I was there, and we set up as that. I got talking to the owners of the shop, and really luckily, we managed to get the contract for the shop. And in 2 weeks, we turned it around from a painted black shop, including the ceiling. Oh gosh, don't ever paint your ceilings black. We turned it around into a shop for launch. And we started that shop with the first month's rent, which was my dad's input, and £300. So we didn't start with a lot. All of the display units were things such as my old bed frame was turned into shelves. We'd go to building sites and ask if they didn't mind if we took the pallets and looked through their skip. So we really started with nothing, but we had the passion to really make it work, and we knew that in the future we could upgrade. So that'll go into my advice later, where I'm up to. Before that, a couple of achievements that we've had. Before doing the Beehive, I was a freelance social media marketer, and that was all self-taught. And I realised that my social media must be working, as I was invited onto BBC Breakfast because of our pumpkin painting workshop, which was ever so fun. And I was surrounded by pumpkins, which is my dream. So that was wonderful. And I think to date, because not everyone stays with us for a long term as a trader, I think to date we've had between 80 and 90 local Portsmouth businesses who've been involved in the shop, and some of them hadn't ever sold an item before, and I help them price it, and I helped them to build their presence and their confidence, and they started their business because of the Beehive. And that That really makes me happy. Okay, so digital software. This is the bit that is very much what I knew about. I'm not necessarily the business minded, the accounts go to my dad. Um, so the first one that has been brilliant is Procreate. Now, if you have an iPad, Procreate is $9.99 one-off buy, and I cannot recommend enough. I've used it to create the logo, the Beehive logo that you see, all the backgrounds for my website. I've created so many products with it, and it's brilliant because it can save in so many different options that you can send it to companies to print merchandise for you, or to people who use, say, Cricut machines or Cricut machines, I'm not sure how you pronounce it, that did our sticker vinyls for the shop and all that kind of stuff. So that one's brilliant. Squarespace. So I started Squarespace in 2015. I had never used it before, and I was put on quite a big local company's website and told, here you go. So it was very much a self-taught thing, but it's really good. I can't recommend it enough. Squarespace is what we have our websites on. I've built other people's websites from Squarespace, and there are different options to make it really affordable. You've already got a domain, you can link it, you can do your email marketing from there. I just really like it. So the next one is iZettle. So iZettle is what I have had since I went self-employed. I managed to get it at a really great discount because my dad already had one. So if you know someone with one, I mean, you can even come to me. I don't mind. You get given a discount code that you can give to everyone. So you can buy the machine for £19, and the percentage that they take from each sale is minimal, and it's brilliant. And if you use it on your computer or your phone or your iPad, you can put inventory in, you can download all of that, you can send payment links, invoices at no extra cost or anything. So iZettle is the one that I go for. I know a lot of people use Square or PayPal that's very similar, and I know that Square, you can integrate with your Squarespace. I can't integrate my iZettle, but that's something to look at in the future. Excel. Excel is hands down the first thing you should download if you have a website, because that's not a website, sorry, a business, because that's the thing that you can go in and go, here's what I want to make, here's what I need to make, and here's what I can make. And that's where you start, and that's how you start adjusting your numbers to make sure it's going to work. Canva. I feel like Canva's had a real rise at the moment. It's brilliant for doing your social media. I use the free version, so it's not always the best images. I always seem to like the ones that you have to pay for, but you can get a subscription to it, and it's very simple to use. You can put it on phone, computer, laptop. It'll even build your logo for you if you don't use things like Procreate, or you're not as creative and not quite sure where to go with creating your logo. Canva will do that for you, which is brilliant. YouTube is your best friend. I have learned so much through YouTube, and I've also found motivation through YouTube. I follow a woman called Catnip, and watching her business grow whilst I'm sitting and working has really inspired me to really give it a good go, especially on those days where it can be a bit harder. And Skillshare, I have just signed up to Skillshare, so I'm yet to know how good this is, but I've heard some really good things. And having a search through to find, say, Etsy, I want to know more about Etsy. I've used Etsy before, but I don't think I'm quite there at its full potential. There are videos that will tell you how best to use it, so that's brilliant. Oh, next slide. Is it gonna go? There we go. Okay. I'll just go back a slide, sorry. So what I wish I'd known through all of this is how better to use my insights on social media. So they will tell you who's interacting when and what age they are. And I also wish I knew how to use Squarespace a bit better, and instead of sort of going, I've used it before, it's fine, I know what I'm doing. going and actually asking for help or YouTubing or Skillshare and working out the best way to use the shop features would have saved me a lot of time. Okay, so social media, which is where I started. So social media, build your brand prior to your launch. I know that I have launched quite a few businesses in the past, none quite as big as the Beehive, sort of tie-dye t-shirts when I was 16. And I found with the Beehive, I built up a following of around 2,000 followers on Instagram. I showed behind the scenes, I showed what we were going to be doing, just little sneak previews to really entice people to come in. I ran a competition, and I wanted people to know who we were, so that when we opened the doors, it was straight off and running, and I didn't have to build it then. So use the platforms best suited to your audience. So you have myself, who's 23, and my father, who's 53, and we have seen sort of how our age gap is used in social media. So I'm very much the Instagram generation and he's the Facebook generation. So I tend to find that if I share on Instagram, it can be things that I know are attracting my younger audience. Often my female audience are far more on Instagram, and on Facebook I tend to find it's the sort of over 40s are very much more on Facebook. And there's always exceptions to these rules, and I'm not saying that that's definitely how it is, but that's how we tend to find our interaction best and talking to our customers best. I also separate it so that it's myself on Instagram chatting. I'm not quite down with the youth, but I'm a bit more with it than my dad, and he does the Facebook side of it. And create your voice. So I've worked in businesses before where it's very professional sounding. You know, you sign off emails with your sincerely kind regards. And I've worked for businesses where it's far more personal. So the Beehive is very much a personal company. I wanted it to feel like family for customers, to be a safe space that people were able to come and feel comfortable. And we built a little room at the back that people could come and sit if they needed some time to themselves. And I wanted them to feel like that on Instagram and Facebook as well. So it's very much, I'm on it, usually in my pajamas. The cats are involved, so I'm sorry if you hear any meows. Everyone loves the cats on the Instagram. And you know, we really talk to people like friends and families. We're very thank you, exclamation marks, bee emojis, and that's how people know us, so we try and keep it that way. Ooh, sorry, I missed out a bit on there. Also experiment with your style. So I have gone through so many themes to my social media and marketing, and once you find the one that's really going to work for you, stick with that for a while. But don't be scared to change it, because you never know what might happen. You never know what might be in trend that time. But so long as you are comfortable, that is the most important thing. You don't want to be trying to create a marketing look that you aren't comfortable with and that you don't like. And I always say, if I don't love something, I can't sell it because I can't be enthusiastic about it. So finance, I always find that this is a bit that a lot of people are a bit scared to talk about, and so I try and be as open as possible with everyone. So we started with a very small amount of money. It's possible, but we have to be realistic in that it might not turn a profit or a livable wage for a while. I don't turn a livable wage at the moment, mostly because of the situation that we're in. And I didn't when we first started, but our first Christmas, I had a brilliant livable wage. You know, it's very up and down with the seasons. I know some of our traders do really well in the early year months. That is a very quiet time for us. And it's sort of working out the ebbs and flows that you can make it steady. If you do start with a big amount of money in the business, you can start further into it. So whereas I wanted to create all these wonderful products and build shelves, but I couldn't, if I'd have started with more money, I could have done. But again, there is a big risk with that. You can lose it, unfortunately. And I don't like to sound so negative, but I like to be realistic as well. So you can do it both ways, just so long as you are comfortable, you really go for it, and you know, you put your passion into it, it'll work. So setbacks. Oh, talking of the year 2020, shall we? um, so there are quite a few things that we have had a setback in, but I think the most important thing that I've learned is to not get caught up in the sunken fallacy. So I mean, in between the last lockdown, we were able to invest in refitting the shop, and it was beautiful. It was how I'd always wanted it. I'd managed to do it a lot cheaper than if I'd have bought it flat pack, but I still did it. And then we closed the shop a few months later, and that was really heartbreaking. But I had to think, don't keep pushing the shop, because if people are shopping online now, there is no point in putting more money into the shop and not having any chance of being able to stay online because I've wasted all of that money. And it's very hard to do, and it's very easy to get caught up in the sunken fallacy. But sometimes you need to just sit, reevaluate, go, right, this isn't working, what will work, and go that way. And don't be scared to change direction. My first lot of products that I created, I was like, I'm not going to sell out, I'm not going to do commercial, and all I create now is greetings cards. So it's okay to change. Losing my inventory was a wonderful experience at Christmas last year. So I wrote everything down by hand that we sold in the day. So which trader it was from. At this point, we had about 70 traders in the shop. Which trader it was from, the price and the item. And I had staff members who were also doing it. And I would sit down every week and I would type it onto Excel, which I did not back up when it came to paying all the traders. So I lost everything. And my stubborn mind did not want to change how I used iZettle, which you can type in exactly what you have sold and download it. So instead of doing that where it was backed up by the internet by a massive corporation, I was just stubborn. So I've now learned have a backup of everything, because I've lost designs before, I've obviously lost the inventory before, but you come back and you learn from your mistakes. Some days it can be really hard, with the setbacks, and you want to throw in the towel, but the minute you get a sale or a client or a little bit of success, that's going to completely erase everything negative. You're going to remember why you did it, and it's going to be wonderful. Rest. I know Flo mentioned rest. So most businesses start at home. I'm currently in my home. And I find it very hard to differentiate sometimes. So I've now built myself a specific office so I don't mix it. So when it comes to burnout, I've been there, done that, got multiple t-shirts. I didn't realize how much I was working myself until the first lockdown started, and my customers were saying, how are you going to cope not working? And I was sort of thinking, oh, what do you mean? And I spoke to my partner about this, and I was going and working in the shop 7 days a week for 8 hours a day. I was coming home, sitting down, replying to social media. I was doing freelance client work as well to keep putting money into the business. I would be cooking and eating my dinner whilst replying to emails or putting things on social media. And then I would go to bed, and I would sit in bed for 2 hours and work. And I had no idea that I was doing this, because it was also integrated into the rest of my home. I mean, Christmas Day, I was sort of nudging my dad, going, can we go into the shop and build some more shelves? And I put it off till Boxing Day. So, I mean, I very much now separate it. Sometimes I will build boxes on the sofa. I'm not perfect. And I will do my social media in the morning and my emails in bed with a coffee. That is my sort of point that I'm working on still. I'm not perfect yet. And that gets me set up for a day of just sitting in the office and just hammering out all my orders and creating things. My phrase is always, I don't know if I put it on here. There we go. You can't pour from an empty cup. And that's what I say to everyone. And I'm yet to learn it, but I'm getting there. Um, do, do, do. So networking. Um, this is a word that has always horrified me. I have anxiety, which is another reason I wanted to work in my own business, because I could decide when was good for me. Um, so on the days that I felt okay to talk to people, I would go and talk to, say, news outlets or other local businesses or the local politicians, to see what they were implementing in local businesses. So I did a launch party when I opened my shop. I invited sort of all the South Sea magazines and newspapers, all the local businesses around us, because it's really good to have their support and work with them. Um, you want to work together, because at the end of the day, more hands is going to create more than less hands. And also the local politicians, I invited all of them to us. We had Stephen Morgan come. So not only do the photo opportunities and those people sharing your work help in terms of the business, it's also really interesting to hear what they're implementing in the local area to help out as well. So I found out a lot about running markets, what grants were available, and yeah, it's just really about getting out there, putting yourself out there, and going for it. So my final piece of advice, thank you all for listening, I realise I have blabbered on, is there's enough room for everyone. And I've had my fair share of people not liking me, not being happy that I've done the business, which is a shame, because these are all people that I would quite happily collaborate with. But you know what? If you continue to support everyone, no matter what, even if they're doing the same thing as you, if you support each other, there is enough room for everyone. There are 7 billion people on this planet. There is enough room, and luck favours the kind. So yes, thank you ever so much, everyone, for listening, and I hope that was helpful for some of you.
Okay, hi everybody. My name is Amina. I am the creator of Cos Colours, formerly Cos Watercolours, and I create eco-friendly watercolour paints made from upcycled waste cosmetics. So it's quite an innovative solution that I've come up with here, and the story behind this is very rocky, if I'm honest, and just like everyone else's, I'm sure there's a lot to learn from it, and but also a lot of things to celebrate as well. So I'm really excited to speak to you about this today, and I guess I should just get straight into it. Just pre-warning, a lot of these photos are just meant to be as a prompt for me as well. So I'm hoping that you'll be able to take a lot away from what I'm actually saying, as opposed to what you see on the screen. And that goes for the very first picture that I'm about to show you here, which is a very cheesy photo of me. Woohoo! So just to give you a bit of an insight into who I am, my name is Amina. I am, well, the way that I like to promote myself is by saying that I am an artist, a designer, and a creative problem solver. And what that means is that I like to be able to find solutions to problems that people would otherwise be struggling to think that there is even a possibility of solving. So to give you a little bit of insight into why it is that I'm so passionate about my journey as well, I think it would be useful to also let you know what I do as my other role as well. So I actually work 3 days a week as an enterprise program facilitator, as well as running this business. So there are obviously a lot of options that you can have if you did want to start up your own business. One of them might be going straight into it head first. Another might be working on it full time and having it as your side hustle. For me, I've gone somewhere in between. I really enjoy my job. The reason for that is because I get to go to different schools and colleges and teach young people entrepreneurial skills. And all of these skills that I'm teaching them are the soft skills that are transferable, and all of the things that I've learned along my way, in my journey along the way of trying to set this up as a business, and also just continuing to go at it, whether it's going well or not. And thankfully I can say that that it has been going well, but also it has not. And I think this is a perfect opportunity for me to be able to actually be very upfront and honest about the whole journey. So yeah, like I said, I go to different schools and colleges teaching young people entrepreneurial skills that are transferable, whether they're in the workplace or to life or to setting up your own business. And also I create watercolor paints made from upcycled makeup. So what that means is people donate their waste to me. I collect that makeup and I transform it into a watercolor paint. So it's not just that you're painting with the makeup itself. I've managed to upcycle it and create a watercolor formula using a binder, etc., and turning that into a paint suitable for artists of all abilities. So there you go, that's me. I have created the world's very first planet-friendly paint with a purpose. What is that purpose, you might be asking? Well, I have been so enthusiastic about sustainability in general for a number of years now. When I was, even younger, I would always be keen to recycle and make sure that everyone's putting things in the right bin. But I realized it's so much more than that. And yes, it is to do with our own habits and, us making conscious decisions about what we would like to be able to do to be able to make that change, and at least not have that conflict with our moral compass that we might not have, at least it's not us. That's the kind of mentality that I'd like to think that a lot of us have. But maybe some of us could also go ahead and do a little bit more. Now, it's not just the consumer habits, it's also the really big retailers that are having such a big impact on the world. Like a handful of these companies have been able to make such a drastic difference to the way that our planet survives. And the reason why I decided to tackle this problem in particular is because I found out that there's a €2 million cosmetic waste problem in just one country in Europe alone. Now that's insane. Like, that's literally one country. Now that's to then think about all of the different countries in Europe that have these manufacturing processes and have really successful cosmetic businesses. It just makes you think, what is going on and why has no one done anything about this? And it's not that they don't have the money to do it, it's more that people aren't able to showcase these little solutions that could end up having a really big impact. Now, I wanted to, the reason why I wanted to tackle the big retailers also is because before I graduated from university, I had a placement year where I was working with quite a large company. I was working with an energy company in Canary Wharf, so I was actually on the 20th floor of the Citibank building. But I was really excited to work with them because I got to work in their innovation department, and I got to look for new startups and entrepreneurs to drive through the business so that way they could transform into a green energy company. That's when I realized just how big of an impact these businesses could have from startups and from creative people. I decided I want to be on the other end of that. So after graduating from university, which is where for my final year project is where I came up with this idea, because I was really into circular economy and seeing how we could make an impact with that. I then went viral with my product, which was really cool at the time, but also it was an experience where I was like, yeah, this is cool, like, oh, what a great way to end university. And then I just kind of left it. And I kind of regret doing that. I really should have gone with that momentum, but that's just one of the lessons learned from this right from the get-go. I remember going to my tutors and asking, should I try to like patent it, or should I go ahead and run with it? And to be honest, the advice that I got from them was, don't bother, it's not really worth it. And I just thought, oh, all right then, I guess I should start looking to find myself a full-time job. And that is exactly what I did. I decided to go into full-time work. I was an assistant product manager at I won't mention the company. I don't want to, because I didn't have a particularly great experience with that company. I hated it. Oh my goodness, it was it was I learned a lot, don't get me wrong, I learned a lot, but I realized it's definitely not where my passions lie. I wanted to find more purpose and more meaning to what I was doing, and as a result I decided to leave the company and find myself a co-working space. Now when you're starting off and decide that you do want to go off on your own journey, it's really difficult to, you know, the ideal situation would of course be, I'm gonna open myself up a studio or a shop and I'm just gonna get on with it. But it's not always that easy. Sometimes it's to do with money, sometimes it's to do with being a one-woman band. There are so many factors that can play into it. So my first piece of advice, I guess I would say, is if you are thinking about starting something up, have a look around at who you could about places that you could share and where else you could go in order to be able to start up whatever it is that you're interested in, and find some advice from so many people that you would maybe think that they don't have anything to offer, but trust me, every single person in this world has something to offer, and they know something that you don't. I don't know what it might be, but there is always, every single person on this earth has something to contribute. Now, anyway, so the reason why I decided to start this up was because I wanted to go back to where my passions lie. And that was in art, and that was in product design. So I graduated in product design, and I just wanted to go run with it, because clearly I was onto something, especially with this, you know, with it going viral. And then soon after, I was also invited to give a talk with, which I'll talk about a little bit later, actually. I've got a slide on that. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to have a go at it. So what am I doing now? Well, like I said, I create little watercolor paints. So if you were interested, you could now go onto my Etsy store or go onto my Instagram and see all the different products that I'm able to make from all the different donations that are coming through to me, whether that's coming from PR companies, or whether that's coming from retailers themselves, or whether that's coming from the general public. And what that means is, yes, you can get involved. You can donate your waste cosmetics to me, and I can upcycle them and turn them into beautiful watercolor paints. What this also means is you have a great, fantastic gift option for yourself or somebody else here now for you to start painting with and become a budding artist yourself. I'm having so much fun with this at the moment. Like I said, there are so many different colors, so many different product ideas that I have in my head, but as a one-woman band, it's really difficult to just try and get it all out there as fast as I'm thinking about it all. Just continuously thinking, but the pace at which I'm having to be able to market these things, and also remember that there needs to be some kind of strategy behind it, is very much an ongoing lesson and trial that I am overcoming every single day. But so far it seems to be going well, and people seem to be still loving my products. So I'm really pleased about that, and it just keeps me motivated to keep going. But how did it start? So although I do have a little over 1,000 followers, let's say, on Instagram at the moment, it didn't start off like that. You have to try and find ways to get your product out there and get it, have it be known. So yes, although, you know, yes, it'd gone viral. Yes, I had been doing talks about this. At the end of the day, you need some of those customers to actually reaffirm you, to let you know that, yes, this is a product that they actually want. So the way that I started off was by showing people some of my processes, giving people a bit of an insight into me and who I am, and then kind of tailoring it in a little bit more. I decided that the way that I was going to try to get people that are genuinely interested in my product, and not just there because you know, they do want a freebie, but this giveaway was something that really set it in stone for me, that I realized people are genuinely interested in my product. Now, when it comes to a giveaway, it's really easy to overthink it. Anything, to be honest, any promotional material that you're going to be putting out, any Instagram posts that you're going to be putting out, any social media, to be honest, TikTok, Facebook, Pinterest, whatever it is, it's really easy to overthink it. And this is when I thought, you know what, I'm just going to give myself a deadline. End of the week, I'm going to have something out there. I really quickly whipped something up. Fortunately, I had I've been working on a logo for far too long, to be honest, trying to think about what kind of message I wanted to get across with it, like a brush stroke, and also like the recycling sign and all sorts. Yes, it's a cool logo, I like it, but it probably didn't need that much overthinking. So this is where I realized that in order to be able to grow, and in order to be able to grow your social media presence, and in order to be able to grow your customers as a result of that, is to just start putting content out there. And the more content you put out there, slowly the better it will get. And the more and the better it gets, the more people who will be interested in you. And that is not just your customers, but also maybe other businesses. So this is where I found the collaborations to be really intriguing. Now, I, much like how the other two speakers have already said, I am also not perfect when it comes to messaging people back. Oh my goodness, I need to get my butt in gear. There are so many people who are interesting and interested that would be fantastic to work with, and it's just a matter of being able to prioritize your to-do list properly. But one thing I would say is, even if you've left it late, don't give up on it, and still do what you need to do. Like even if you think, oh, that was a wasted opportunity, it's never really a wasted opportunity, because you would have learned from that, and also you never know what will happen on the other side. You don't know how the person will respond, and hopefully if they are a nice person, as you were thinking, then it'll all be fine. And if they're not, then maybe it's somebody that you weren't meant to work with in the first place anyway. So for instance, with this current giveaway that we've got going on, if you really wanted to win everything that's here, by the way, you can go onto our social media pages and enter. I think it ends tomorrow. And this was an opportunity that somebody else reached out to me for. So this is now where slowly I'm not having to do all of the work by myself, even though I am a one-woman band. People collaborating with you means that the give and take is very much on the same level. So this is actually 9 different businesses who have come together to help support each other in such an unusual time. And we're all at different levels, but all very much still wanting to grow our businesses. And I found this to be a really wholesome way to also be able to realize that it's not just you who is on this journey and needing that support, but also so many other people as well. And people are willing to support that. So yeah, like I said, a fantastic way for you to be able to grow, even if you are on your own, is to reach out to people and to be open enough to take that advice from other people as well. Okay, in terms of some digital tools that I've found useful or I am planning to use as well, it really varies. I realise I'm speaking to a quite creative audience, so I wouldn't usually put things up here like the Adobe Creative Suite, but I'm sure that maybe there's a few creative people listening here that do already have this. So like I said, I am a designer as well, so these are tools that I am used to using, but I'm very well aware that it's not always the best tool to use. Although yes, I am quite tech savvy when it comes to Photoshop and InDesign and Illustrator, blah blah blah. I've actually found it far more useful and easier to use things like Canva and use things like even TikTok to be able to really quickly make things that you don't need to have to think about all the technicalities and how to do it all, because it prompts you to be able to have that design mindset. So even if you don't have a single clue what you're doing, the more practice you get, the better you get. So when it comes to making posters, like I said, I do use Canva every now and again, but sometimes that might just be so that way I can get some inspiration about how I want to lay things out. I might then go back into my Adobe suite to check that out. I really like the fact that Procreate was mentioned, because this is something that I am slowly having a little bit of a look into as well, especially when going through TikTok and you realize all these little small businesses have used so many cool tools. Yeah, it's a fantastic tool, and I hope to. I don't really want to speak about it too much because I haven't got too much experience with it. In terms of creating a quick video, like I said, TikTok is great, but if you don't want those little handles showing up, InShot is also a really good one, and Adobe Rush. All of these tools really quickly allow you to put some video content as well as some music and all the rest of it. Adobe Spark is also really similar to Canva, so you've got all of these little tools that you can use. So again, if you've got the a license for that, then by all means use it. In terms of social media schedulers, this is something that I wish I had made more use of at the beginning. I'm only now starting to use these a lot more. And the main one that I've been using is Planoly. So you can kind of, if you want to find out how your feed could look, your social media feeds would look before you post them out, this is a great tool to be able to do that. There are obviously paid versions of this, but even the free version, you should be able to see exactly what your posts are looking like. I really do recommend something like this if you are trying to have a more professional feel to your businesses, if you are looking to go forward with that. Also, Unfold is a great tool for social media stories. So again, really great tools here for you guys to be able to have a look into. But one thing that I wish somebody had told me earlier is that you don't have to do everything yourself. Now, whether that was, you know, creating my logo, or if that was you know, making the social media posts themselves, making the paint myself, doing absolutely everything myself. There are so many freelancers out there that are wanting the work and that are also willing to compromise a little bit in order to be able to help you with your budget. So if you do have a little bit of a budget, I would really recommend trying to find ways to outsource some of this work so it's off your shoulders and you have more time to be able to spend on the things that matter in terms of growing your business a little bit faster. Fiverr is a great website for you to be able to find a load of these freelancers on. Basically, the reason why it's called Fiverr is because it starts from, you basically pay a Fiverr and you can see people's rates from there, and they all start at £5. But there are people who design logos, there are people who design posters, all sorts for you. There are even people who do voiceovers for you. So there's all sorts there that you can find. So these are some digital tools that I really have found useful in my journey, and will continue to have a little bit of look into. Cool. The great thing about having such a having a business that you are so passionate about and so excited by is that it really does open doors for you. Now, when I say I've definitely gone through struggles about am I doing something that's actually worthwhile, or is it just a little hobby on the side? When I say put your content out there, I really mean it. Whether you think that it's worthwhile or not, just keep putting it out there, because eventually you will be able to structure it yourself and see where the business is heading. I had a fantastic opportunity to be able to speak for Wired Next Generation at the Tate Modern in front of 400 people, as well as a live stream, which was really daunting, if I'm honest. It was but it's also one of my really something that I can be really proud to talk about, because it is only because I decided to go on this creative business journey that I had this opportunity. So just be open and kind of take it as it goes, because you never know what will happen on the other side of it. As a result of having this talk, doing this talk, I also had people come up to me afterwards because I had a little stall. I said, if it's okay, can I have a little stall so people can try out the paints themselves? At this point, I wasn't even selling. I just wanted to have people try it out. And somebody came over to me and gave me a business card and said, I found this really interesting. I'm going to send you an email and I'll get back, if you want to get back to me, that'd be great. But essentially what happened was this fantastic person had reached out to me and gotten me into contact with somebody at Sephora, somebody at ASOS, somebody at London Business School, and it was just out of nowhere. I had no idea that was going to happen. And these are just doors that I never would have known about. And I know you might be thinking, well, you know, with COVID, how can these doors be open? I'm telling you, they are there. The COVID also has doors. They just might be a little bit scarier to walk into. Maybe go in with a mask. So these COVID doors. Now, like I said, there are still people out there who are really wanting to support you. Thanks to COVID, there have been a few pots of money out there as well. I was really fortunate to get a quite small grant, but a grant nonetheless, which allowed me to open up a PO box. So this is something that I wanted to do for a while, and especially seeing as, you know, I'm no longer able to go into the office, so I don't have a public address that I can go to, you know, to tell people to donate to. I was having to give people my personal address and I wasn't too comfortable with that. I was able to find a little bit of funding and I invested that into a PO box. So now I have people from all over the country donating their cosmetic waste to me. And that includes some pretty big makeup artists. So Andrew Gallimore reached out to me recently. I'm not sure if you know him, but that's really cool. And I'm just really excited to be able to keep going, even, you know, despite COVID. Of course, it's been a little bit trickier. Like I haven't been able to go to market stalls as much as I'd like to, but there are always other options there. And like I said, doors that you didn't even know you could open. Oh yeah, and just so you know, if you did want to send me your waste cosmetics, please do feel free to take a picture of that and send it my way. I guess to wrap this up, some advice that I'd love for you to be able to take away, and things that I wish people had told me as well. Network. This guy over here, oh my goodness, I love him. He so when I met him, it was at a really random packaging innovations event, which everyone told me, wow, that sounds boring. Meanwhile, I was here like, that sounds like it's going to save the world. I was listening to a panel of 4 people up on that stage, and he was one of them. This is a packaging buyer at Lush. And what happened was, I'm going to tell you a really awkward story now. They finished their discussion, bearing in mind this was in London, so there must have been like 10,000 people there at least. I decided to go straight up to them and I thought, okay, now or never. And I said, hi. Got completely blanked. No one turned around. I was literally there like, oh my goodness, this is so uncomfortable. But then I figured, do you know what? I've already made myself uncomfortable. Let me make myself, you know, just go for it and then see what happens. The worst that can happen is that I stay awkward. It's already happened, so whatever. So I said it again. I said, hi, I'm really sorry to interrupt. However, I was just wondering if I could speak to you about my business idea. I found your talk really inspiring and I just wanted to see if you would be interested in maybe becoming a mentor. And that is exactly what happened. So what they did is they said, here, take my email address and send me an email and let's see what we can do. So this is where Nick here comes in, lovely guy. I ended up meeting him for a coffee up down in Poole, and he took me to the different Lush headquarters. There was 4 different sites, and I got to meet some really cool people. He was working on these cork pots at the time, which was fantastic because, you know, sustainability and all that. And I also got to get in touch with people who work in the cosmetics side of things. Then COVID happened. So all of these things have been put on hold, but I do have plans to go back out there and reach out to them. Like I said, this is all a roller coaster journey right now. But massive piece of advice to take away there is network, whether that is at a big event or that you're invited to, or a big event that you are just attending. Use every opportunity you have. Mentors like Nick, fantastic, but also peer mentoring is really useful. I also have a small business friend that sometimes we just catch up and see, oh, how things going for you, how things going for me, and we just give each other tips. I really recommend peer mentoring. Show up. I'll try and wrap up a little bit quicker as well. So show up. What this means is, even if you're late to something, still show up. It quite literally means show up. There are so many different courses or events that I've booked onto, and then I thought, oh my goodness, I'm running really late, I don't know if I should go. It's going to be really awkward if I turn up a little bit late, or if I join this Zoom call, oh my goodness, I've actually missed like half an hour of it. If you can, still show up. You don't know what you're going to get from it. And there are so many opportunities like that. So again, another example that I can give is, there was a networking event, an event to do with mental well-being or something that was run by our university for graduates and alumni. I missed the entire talk, but I still showed up at the end for the Q&A. And I used that again as an opportunity to network, and I managed to get in contact with the sustainability director at Estee Lauder. You really don't know what's going to happen. Just show up. Like I said, the awkward moment will only last a small amount of time. And it is a necessary part of being a business owner to get past those barriers, because not everyone is always going to be super accommodating, but at least you can kind of overcome some of those fears, so that way the next time something like that happens, you know how to deal with it after. The achievement of the day. This is something that I had realized over COVID. My achievement of the day, I'm going to take this thing down here for a second. I have this little calendar that I created, and I intentionally made it really teeny tiny so I could only write one thing in there. Over COVID, I realized, okay, do you know what? I turned 25 in April, and then I said, you know what? This time next year, I want to be in a completely different position to where I am right now. And the only way that I knew that that was going to work is if I did something productive every single day. But I didn't want to have that in a way that was overwhelming. If that achievement for your day is just posting to Instagram, that is a great achievement, because even if on another day you're able to, sell, I don't know, 50,000 products or something, again, that is a huge achievement. But all of your little achievements are just as important as the big ones. But you should be able to take just one thing from your day and be able to reflect on it and see, do you know what? Actually, this is okay. Tomorrow I'll try even harder, or tomorrow I can have a little bit of a break because I've done loads. Just having one achievement a day and then looking back on it in a year's time and realizing, wow, I've managed to achieve 365 things this year, is going to be an amazing feeling in about 6 months' time. But even now, I'm able to look back on it and think, wow, for 6 months, I've achieved one little thing every single day, even if it is just replying to somebody's email. And that is something personally that I struggle with, and I'm trying to get better at. And finally, the biggest piece of advice, mind your own damn business. And what I mean by that is, stop looking at what everyone else is doing and thinking, oh my God, but they're doing so much and I'm not doing enough. And start focusing on yourself and what you're doing and your business. Focus on yourself, mind your own business, and stop comparing yourself to all these other people. Of course, it's great to have that inspiration. Do, have a look at what everyone else is doing. And much like how it was said before, there's enough room for everyone. So just mind your business and you'll get far. I hope that didn't come across too rude, but and I hope that you get what I was trying to say there. If you if you were interested in seeing a video of like a little pitch that I put together a little bit later, do just let me know and I'll play this for you. I won't play it right now, but the reason why I put this up there also is that when we were talking about whether you have a lack of funding to be able to move yourself further, there are people out there who do want to help, and there are pots of funding out there. I've been really fortunate over the last few months to have actually secured some funding for me to be able to grow my business, and I'm really excited to go forward with that, and this is something that I am looking forward to developing in the very near future as well. So the next year for me, I'm hoping, is going to be really exciting. Finally, thank you so much for listening to me. I do hope you've taken something away from that, and if nothing else, please do just feel free to visit my website or my Etsy page, take a look at my products, maybe you'll like something, and if not, if you've got any makeup lying around in the house, send it my way. I hope you have taken something away from that. It's been really a pleasure to talk to you guys, so thank you very much.